So, I mean, for me to come to Tirupati is especially important because when I was a young girl, before I became a devotee, I was roaming around India for 2 years looking for the absolute truth. And at that time, I had no guidance. I didn't even know on the world map where Indian was. So it's like, you know, I came here because I saw an article in the Paris Match paper, and it said there that the wisdom of the world is to be found in India. So because I was looking for the absolute truth, I thought, so I have to go there. So eventually, I'll spare you the long story, I came to India and I traveled by foot through India for 2 years, following the flow of pilgrims that were in India. So I went to many, many holy places without even knowing what they were or what they meant and all that. And I came here also, and I remember going up the hill by foot all the way up there, and it was a very impressive experience. And I remember when I left India after 2 years, I wasn't smarter than before, because to me it was, well, who is God now? Is this the person with the elephant head, or the person with the snake around his neck, or is it the Durga on the tiger with all the dead skulls? And you know, who is God? So I wasn't smarter than before. Anyway, eventually, shortly after I came back, I actually got in touch with the devotees, and there I found answers, you know. But that's another story. So for me to come here, when we were in the GBC meeting last year, or the year, I think the year before in Mumbai, and Mumbai said that they're not going to be able to host us this year because of constructions, and also we're going to go to Tirupati. It was like, for me, amazing. Immediately was like, wow, I'm going to have an audience with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like others go in an audience with the Pope or something. So I was very much looking forward to come. Needed experience. So I'm very happy to be here. So as far as I was concerned, I was already quite well set up because of all this. Sakrida Parayana to come forward at least as the coordinator to keep things together so that this committee doesn't fall apart completely. And even though it is a bit my nature to keep things together, but I just had too much on my plate, and I understood in the last 8 years that I have to be very careful not to be always willing to take up more just because I can do it, but to actually spare myself and be aware that this year I have a troubled year, and I shouldn't exaggerate it in order not to become sick and all that. So I really encouraged him, and besides, he is a caliber that I don't have. He has a professionality that I don't have. So for me, I'm doing everything like, let's see what Krishna wants. But he seemed to professionally always know what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And because also I'm getting along very nicely with him, so I felt that at least for me, it would be good if he would be coordinator. And eventually he actually heard the message, and I could see when we came here, he immediately from the first second, before even informing the rest of the group that he is going to be now the coordinator, he took the pen in the hand and did, guided us through all these days in a flow that was just, and an enthusiasm that was just incredible. And he was very much able to, on one side, give directions, guide us and give direction, and on the other hand, still be attentive enough to the desire of the different members and all that. So this was really a success, and particularly Bhaktivigyan Swami, I could see that he also was in a very good space. We were afraid to lose him to the educational committee, because the difference between before and now is that, for me, from the beginning, I always understood that the succession is a strategy by which we should help the GBC and other leaders to understand, first of all, the necessity of succession, and then the obstacle to succession, and then how to bring about a culture of succession. But somehow or other in the past, we were more or less stuck with just teaching seminars and courses and all that, and it went so much into detail, and the whole group was stuck on that particular aspect. And it seemed that the whole succession was just made out of training. So if it is just a matter of training, okay, let's conceive some courses and then give it to the educational department, let them do it, and there's no need for us. And that was more or less the opinion of everyone, but I was completely shocked and actually in anxiety that it would come to that conclusion, because to me succession is something else. The training part is just a part of it. You know. So to my great pleasure, I had to see that this time all the members understood that, and that's really due to Rasa Krida Parayana, because he understood that. And so therefore we were able to actually fulfill our tasks and come through all the steps, you know, way forwards and whatever we were asked to, strategic plannings and all that. Within these few days we were able to go all the steps through, and now the only thing that is left is to work on the details, you know, and get it all together. And even Devamrita Swami, who is generally always a little bit holding back himself, he seemed to be quite happy with all this. Tamohar was completely into it. There was another Indian Prabhu there from what do you call Indian lead, or what did they call themselves, also educational. And then as a result of it, my proposal also was that, you know, rather than just being theoretic, you know, let's come down to the ground and show others by example how it can be done. And in Germany, actually, I did it without all the teachings and all that. I have produced a few leaders in the past years, and I know exactly in practicality what it takes to put them in place and all that. So then Bhaktivigyan Swami also said that he also has some leaders there in place. Some need to be replaced, some need to be trained, some. So we decided to have two pilot projects, one in Germany and one in Russia. And the other proposal that I made, that we have a European leadership meeting also once a year, and that would be it is all GBC, RGBs and leaders, but it's a smaller group than the GBC, and they are quite used to work together, and they are quite avant-garde, I would say, with all the projects that they bring. So I thought it's a good place to introduce that, and even for us to gain experience how to implement all that, so that eventually we are able to bring it to the greater picture of the GBC and have more impact, because we ourselves are more experienced in how to deliver the message. So we decided that we're going to meet, all of us, the committee is going to meet in June in Russia, and that's great also because I've never been in Russia before. And so we're going to be in Russia, and then we're going to meet in Germany, and then for the ILS or whatever, or the GBC meeting, or wherever, the ILS 2014, we're going to be, I think, well prepared with courses, with a manual showing step by step what to do and what the other difficulties to be expected, and the courses, and then also pilot projects that show the success, you know, like that. So for me, it's a success, and I think for everybody else also.